The year 1984 saw the world blessed with the brilliant horror comedy film that is Ghostbusters. You don't need me to tell you that it went on to be one of the most beloved movies of not just a generation, but of all time. The antics of the sarcastic Peter Venkman, the lovable heart of the group Ray Stantz, the quirky genius Egon Spengler, and everyone's favourite regular guy who just wanted a job, Winston Zeddemore, are cemented in pop culture history. Seeing these guys going from growing a unique business venture to heroes that prevent the end of the world is always a joy to watch. With the film making waves, Columbia approached Activision about getting a game developed and shoved out into the wild as quickly as possible. David Crane and his team repurposed a half-finished game called Car Wars into a Ghostbusters game in about 6 weeks for release on a Commodore 64. The game got ported to other computers and consoles as time went on. I first encountered the game on a ZX Spectrum via a Bo Jolly big box that my brother got from one of his mates. It was incomplete. I'll always remember those blue cassettes. Gonna start today by taking a good look into this version. To begin, I will say that the loading screen looks a bit shite. The Activision logo is bigger than the game title, not exactly a great sign. Plus there's all this legal bullshit taking up the vast majority of it. Also, look at the state of the title itself. The sizing and font style is all over the place, it looks bloody stupid. Once loaded though, you choose your control method and are then greeted with the Ghostbusters logo and a karaoke beeper rendition of the theme song. The only other sounds you'll hear throughout the game is a couple of digitised speech samples. Also, the logo is the wrong way round for some reason. Come to think of it, it's the wrong way round on the cassette inlay too, like everywhere that it appears. What gives? Next we have the screen where you are prompted to form your franchise and enter your name, surname first and first name last. Pointless really, as you can just type in anything, it actually doesn't matter. Next you're asked if you have an account, and if you answer yes, you then have to enter your account number. Account numbers and names go together, you can't use an account number with a name other than the one you created it with. You'll be given an account number at the end of each playthrough, which allows you to start another with the money you earned previously. If you don't have an account, you're handed $10,000 by the bank apparently. Now it's on to purchasing your car. Kinda weird that you'd have a choice given how iconic the Ecto-1 is, but hey, why not? Option number 1 is the blue Compact for $2,000, which looks kinda like a Volkswagen Beetle I think. It can hold 5 pieces of equipment and has a top speed of a whopping 75 miles per hour. Option number 2 is the 1963 Hearse for $4,800, which can hold 9 items, goes up to 90 miles per hour and represents the real Ecto-1. Well, not really. You see, I'm fairly certain that the actual car is a 1959 Cadillac, and that this game is solely responsible for convincing people that it's a hearse, which is kinda hilarious. Moving on, option number 3 is the dark blue station wagon for $6,000. This big bastard holds 11 items and can go 110 miles per hour. And finally, option number 4 is the rather fetching magenta high performance for $15,000. Not feasible for a first playthrough, and it only holds 7 items, but it is the fastest, clocking in at a maximum of 160 miles per hour. Now before I get into the next step, which involves purchasing equipment, let's have a look at the general gameplay loop to get an understanding of what each piece of equipment can bring to the table. You begin on a New York map screen containing multiple city blocks, one of which contains Dana and Lewis's apartment building labelled for whatever reason, and of course there is the Ghostbusters HQ. Speaking of Dana and Lewis, the versions of them possessed by Zord and Vince Clawthrow are bumbling around the map represented by a lock and key icon respectively. Running into them doesn't appear to do anything in this version, so I guess they're just sightseeing. Your current location is represented by the logo, which is still facing the wrong direction by the way. Navigating with it will plot out the route for your vehicle to take. When a block starts flashing red, it means that a ghost is haunting the area and your services are required to remove the little bugger. You can start the journey by placing the logo above or below the block, then holding the direction of said block and pressing fire. This then initiates the driving sequence. The car can be moved left or right, and the time it takes to get to the location is determined by the distance of the route coupled with the speed of the car. There isn't really any visual representation of the different car speeds during this, it's just the sequence length itself that will be affected. Once you arrive, 2 Ghostbusters will enter the fray with a ghost trap and their proton packs. You position each one, drop the trap and activate the beams. The idea is to lure the ghost to the trap and then open it to catch the spooky shitbag. You'll receive up to $1,000 for this and fill up one of your traps. If you fuck up and miss, the ghost will slime one of your lads and put him out of commission for the time being. The method I use is to have the fellows face away from each other, put one on the far right with the trap and have the left guy do the luring in. If you were to cross the streams, your proton packs shit the bed and you miss out on catching the ghost, so this helps with avoiding that. The game only gives you a max of 3 Ghostbusters. I guess Winston didn't apply for the job in this universe. He isn't even on the game's cover. They ignore his existence entirely. If all your traps are full, you only have 1 Ghostbuster left standing, or your proton power has run out, you can empty your traps, get the boys back into ship shape and recharge your gear by returning to Ghostbusters HQ. This is the basic game loop and you'll be spending most of your time doing all this as the PK energy rises. The higher the PK energy, the faster it increases, and once it hits 9,999, it's time to go to Zorr. Once at Zorr, you must sneak 2 Ghostbusters past the Michelin Man, Mr. Stay Puft, into the building, which will trigger the ending. Some text will state that you've closed the portal to the spirit world and everything is now hunky-dory. You'll only be able to go to Zorr if you have earned enough money, which is about 20 grand. Not sure of the exact amount honestly, or if it's something like 10 grand more than you start with or whatever. Anyways, now we come back and take a look into equipment. Starting with the PK energy detector, this will give you an advance warning of a block that is most likely to become haunted soon. The block itself will turn magenta as you pass by it to indicate this. The image intensifier will stop the ghosts flickering during the capture sequence. The marshmallow sensor warns you of a looming Mr. Stay Puft attack that, if not dealt with, will destroy a city block. When a block is wrecked, you get charged 4 grand for the damages. Total and utter cunt. Prevent it though and you'll be awarded 2 grand for averting marshmallow catastrophe. What a way to phrase it. The only way to stop old Mr. Puft is to make sure that you have some ghost bait. Buying it once allows you to use it indefinitely. Upon receiving a marshmallow alert, the ghosts gather to form him like a fucking Megazord. However, you can then press the B key to lure the ghosts to the bait before they do and nip that shit in the bud. These attacks of the marshmallow variety will start occurring once the PK energy is around 5,000. Another thing is that as the PK energy increases, city block hauntings will become more frequent. Around the final third of the game, things get bloody mental. Traps, as specified, are required. The amount of these that you purchase is the amount you'll have to use throughout the playthrough. I did manage on one attempt to buy a bunch of other equipment first and then had no room left for traps. Seeing as you can't remove something once you've bought it, it got me stuck in the equipment screen and was unable to proceed into the game. I had to reset the Spectrum and load the game up again. Bastard. The ghost vacuum gives you something to do during the driving sequences. If you touch ghosts on the map screen, they stop moving, which means you'll encounter them when driving that route. As you see them, move the car so it's near enough lined up with the ghost vertically, then hold the fire button to suck them up. They don't actually get sucked into the vacuum though, but the logo instead, which is still facing the wrong direction. The more of them you hoover up, the less that find their way into Zorr, which will lower the rate the PK energy increases. Ghosts caught by the vacuum do not occupy any traps by the way, so feel free to nab as many as you want. Lastly, the portable laser confinement system stores all ghosts caught in city blocks, meaning you'll only ever need 1 trap and it will never need to be emptied at Ghostbusters HQ. It is a bit pricey though, so unlikely it will be used on a first playthrough. Ghostbusters might not be the most complicated game out there, but I find the simple loop really addictive, and adding to that is the fact that you can rack up money through multiple playthroughs. There are definitely split opinions and I can see why people wouldn't like it. I do though, mainly due to nostalgia probably, but sod it. Looking at some reviews, Crash seemed to think it was a bit shit and a disappointment. They gave it 60%. Sinclair Programs hated it even more and gave it 40%. Sinclair User gave it a 7, the highest yet, but still didn't seem exactly impressed with it or anything. Computer and Video Games comes in with the most positive outlook, giving it an 8 for graphics, 7 for sound, 9 for value, and 9 for playability. There is also this 2-page spread from Your Spectrum with some interesting alternate imagery slapped onto the map screen. Guess this was to start the hype train for release or something. A short time later after playing the Spectrum port, I managed to get hands on with the original on the C64. Not gonna lie, it actually kinda blew my mind. Ghostbusters but looking and sounding better? Fuck yeah. It's the exact same game at its core, just with obvious advantages due to the hardware. The theme tune and voice samples are much better. Ghostbusters! The tune is superior and plays throughout the majority of the game. The graphics of course are better and it all runs a lot faster and smoother. The only real addition is a short little sequence at the end once you enter that shows the Ghostbusters crossing the streams to close the portal, which also plays a unique voice sample. The version of this I played in the days back also had something else that immediately got my attention. While the game was loading, it allowed you to play a Space Invaders clone complete with sound and music. It called itself Invader Load. I'd never seen anything like it before and thought it was fucking awesome. It was seeing all this on my mate's Commodore 64 and Bubble Dizzy, oddly enough, that got me interested in the old bread bin. But even then, the Speccy was still my favourite computer of the two due to its simple charm. Nothing has changed these days in that regard. Haven't played the C64 version for many years as I don't have it anymore, so I could be forgetting if there is anything else of note to say about it. Time went on and I got a Sega Master System. Then one fateful day in Blockbusters, we rented something that had a lasting effect on me for the rest of my life. When I popped that fucker in the console and fired it up, I was in my element. The Master System version of Ghostbusters is what I call a definitive edition. So much has been improved to make the experience even more enjoyable, and it still stands as my favourite port. Obvious advantages are graphics and sound, though no voice samples are present in this one. From the off we see that the logo is facing the correct direction, which is a good sign. Getting into the actual game, the shop is now accessible on the map, occupying a block in the top right. You can also enter city blocks from the side now instead of just being limited to above or below. Dana and Lewis actually look like people now, but coming into contact with them results in losing money. Not just sightseeing this time, but robbing people too, the thieving bastards. The driving sequences are far more engaging, with hazards such as open manholes and totally psychotic drivers that violently change lanes. The speed of each available car actually has an effect on gameplay here, the difference is very clear. Also, the distance remaining to your destination is displayed in the bottom right corner. You can crash the car, but you'll lose $1,000 in the process, presumably for repairs. Said repairs are near enough instantaneous though, so you'll be back on your way in no time. Sucking up ghosts with the vacuum nets you $200 per spook, giving you more of an incentive to go after the little bastards. Plus the animation as they get dragged in is hilarious. There are a lot more ghosts per haunting, but missing just one of them will result in a sliming. The beams point straight up, making it easier to scoop up ghosties, and crossing the streams is far less likely. Don't know if you can cross them, to be honest, I've not actually tried it. Additionally, you can see your remaining beam power and number of traps on this screen, which is very handy. I have had it when one ghost glitches out and gets stuck up in the top left corner for a bit, but it seems to resolve itself after a short while. Equipment wise, there's a bunch of extra stuff thrown in to encourage multiple playthroughs. The Super PK Energy Detector works long range, showing potential upcoming block hauntings without the need to be adjacent to said block. Same deal with the Super Marshmallow Sensor, turning blocks white no matter where you are before an impending attack. High capacity traps can hold 3 times the amount of ghosts that the standard traps can. The Super Anion that thing beam gives you 3 attempts to open a trap and catch all the ghosts before you get slimed instead of just 1. The Ghost Paralysis system makes ghosts move slower during hauntings. The turbocharger will noticeably boost the speed of your car. The Super Ghost Vacuum has an increased range, so you can drag the buggers in from any area of the screen. And lastly, the Defensive Wall blocks Dana and Lewis, I think? Honestly, I don't really use it, so I'm not 100% sure on that one. The game loop is a lot quicker to get through due to the PK energy rising at a faster rate, but all the other improvements balance it out well for a nice frantic little playthrough. Now on to the biggest addition, the whole end sequence at Zoo. You again have to get past old Pufty Bollocks, but once inside, the mission is to navigate a Ghostbuster up the stairs in order to reach Gozer, or Gorza according to the game. Easier said than done though, this is a one-hit death situation and it doesn't fuck around. Ghosts appear and have dodgy movement patterns that you'll have to get used to. The worst is these cunts throwing plates though. You never know where the plates will go and I've died countless times to them. All hope is not lost however, you do have the ability to fight back. You're able to shoot diagonally up or horizontally depending on which button you press. Only takes one shot to get rid of a ghost, and once you get the knack of it, you can nail them as they spawn with a well-timed shot. When first dealing with all this, it can seem insurmountable, but with a bit of patience and practice, it's actually quite a lot of fun. 3 Ghostbusters means 3 attempts, so you have that on your side at least. This also goes for the final encounter with Gozer. And Vins are in dog form and shooting fireballs at you whilst Gozer rains down electric bolts. It's chaotic and here to make sure that you ain't getting an easy victory. This fight has plagued me for years, never beaten it. Until I played again for this video. Fucking finally, after all this time I've actually won the fight. Twice! Fuck you! Hanging around the bottom right of the screen and firing diagonally seemed to work best. One weird thing though, after you beat the game it says that you're rewarded an extra $5,000 but doesn't actually give you an account number. You only get an account number if you fail at any point. So in other words, you're kinda punished for succeeding, which is my only real gripe with this version. But overall, this is clearly the best port, at least that I've played. I really get the feeling that the developers actually liked the original and set out to refine it and make the best possible version that they could. That's the kind of impression that is given off anyway. Well, that's all for today. Have a good one, and I'll see you later.